The most dangerous person in any room is not the loudest. It's not the angriest. It's not the one trying to prove something. The most dangerous person is the one who stays calm, because calmness is not weakness. Calmness is control. When chaos erupts, most people panic. They react emotionally. They speak too much. They expose themselves, but the calm person observes. They listen. They calculate. While others lose control of their emotions, the calm person gains control of the situation. Anger makes people predictable. Fear makes people sloppy. Ego makes people blind. But calmness sharpens the mind. A calm person doesn't rush decisions. They don't waste energy on noise. They don't fight battles that don't matter. They wait. And when they move with precision. History doesn't remember the loud reactors. It remembers the silent strategists. Staying calm under pressure means you're not ruled by emotion. It means you see clearly when others can't. It means you can respond instead of react. That's why calm people intimidate others, because you never know their next move. They don't need to raise their voice. Their presence already speaks. Sus already speaks. In a world addicted to drama, calm is rare, and anything rare is powerful. So train your mind. Master your emotions. Learn to stay calm when tested, because the one who stays calm always has the upper hand, and that is true power. Calmness is not weakness, because weakness reacts while calmness responds with intention. A weak mind looks for immediate relief through anger, shouting, or impulsive action, believing that loudness equals strength. But real strength is the ability to feel emotion without being controlled by it. Staying calm means you are aware of what is happening inside you, yet you choose not to let those emotions dictate your behavior. This level of control requires discipline, self-awareness, and mental maturity. When someone remains calm in stressful or confrontational situations, they signal confidence without saying a word. They are not rushed, not pressured, and not desperate to prove anything. Their calmness shows that they trust their ability to handle the situation, no matter how intense it becomes. This is why calm individuals often command respect naturally. People sense that they cannot manipulate or overpower someone who is emotionally stable. Emotional control also protects clarity of thought. When emotions run high, judgment becomes clouded and decisions are driven by impulse rather than logic. Calmness keeps the mind sharp, allowing a person to analyze, observe patterns, and choose the most effective response. Instead of wasting energy on emotional reactions, that energy is redirected toward awareness and strategy. This creates an advantage in conversations, negotiations, conflicts, and even everyday challenges. Staying calm under pressure also prevents others from gaining control over you. When people see that they cannot provoke a reaction, they lose leverage. Many conflicts escalate because one person reacts emotionally, giving the other exactly what they want. Calmness denies that satisfaction. It keeps power internal rather than handing it over to external circumstances or other people. True calmness does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending not to feel. It means acknowledging those emotions without acting on them immediately. This restraint separates those who are mentally strong from those who are easily influenced. The ability to pause, breathe, and choose a response instead of reacting automatically is a skill developed through awareness and practice. Over time, this skill becomes a form of quiet authority that shapes how others perceive and interact with you. Loud reactions often come from a place of insecurity because they are driven by the need to be seen, heard, or validated. When someone raises their voice, over-explains, or reacts aggressively, it is usually an attempt to regain a sense of control or importance. Instead of confidence, this behavior exposes discomfort and inner instability. The need to dominate a situation through noise reveals a fear of being ignored, misunderstood, or powerless. People who are truly secure do not feel threatened by silence or disagreement. They do not rush to defend their ego because their self-worth is not dependent on immediate approval. In contrast, insecure individuals feel compelled to prove themselves in every interaction. They argue unnecessarily, react emotionally, and turn minor challenges into personal attacks. These loud reactions become a mask, hiding uncertainty and self-doubt behind intensity. Loudness also reduces credibility. When emotions overflow, logic weakens and others begin to question judgment and reliability. A person who constantly reacts loudly appears unstable and unpredictable, making it difficult for others to trust their decisions. Over time, this behavior conditions people to dismiss their words, no matter how valid their points might be. What they say gets lost in how they say it. Dang. In confrontations, loud reactions give away power. They reveal emotional triggers and show exactly where pressure works. Anyone paying attention can use those reactions to manipulate outcomes, escalate conflict, or gain psychological advantage. The more reactive someone becomes, the easier they are to control, because their behavior is no longer intentional but driven by emotion. Silence and composure, on the other hand, leave others uncertain. When a person does not react loudly, it forces others to question their own position and behavior. The absence of noise creates psychological weight. It shifts attention away from performance and towards substance, exposing who is acting from insecurity and who is grounded in inner strength. Anger makes people predictable because it narrows their thinking and locks them into repetitive patterns of behavior. When someone becomes angry, their responses stop being creative or thoughtful and start following instinctive, almost automatic reactions. Raised voices, harsh words, impulsive decisions, and confrontational body language appear again and again. This consistency allows others to anticipate exactly how they will behave under pressure. Once anger takes over, emotional reasoning replaces logical analysis. The mind focuses on winning the moment rather than understanding the situation. This creates tunnel vision, where only one outcome matters and all alternative perspectives are ignored. Because of this, angry individuals often repeat the same mistakes, falling into traps they have encountered before. Their emotional state prevents them from adapting, making them easy to read and easy to provoke. Anger also exposes personal triggers. When someone reacts angrily to specific words, actions, or people, those triggers become visible to everyone watching. Once exposed, they can be exploited. People who understand these triggers can steer conversations, conflicts, or negotiations in their favor simply by pushing the right emotional buttons. The angry person unknowingly hands over control by revealing what unsettles them. In moments of anger, timing is lost. Decisions are rushed, words are spoken without reflection, and actions are taken without considering long-term consequences. This urgency creates patterns that repeat in every stressful situation. Others begin to expect these reactions, reducing the angry individual's influence and authority. What might feel like strength in the moment actually becomes a limitation that defines their behavior. Anger also limits self-awareness. Instead of observing what is happening internally and externally, the mind becomes consumed by the emotion itself. This lack of awareness removes flexibility and makes behavior rigid. The person reacts the same way regardless of context, people, or stakes involved, reinforcing predictability and reducing their ability to maintain control in challenging situations. Calm people observe before acting because they understand that information is power. Instead of rushing to respond, they take a moment to absorb what is happening around them. They pay attention to tone, body language, timing, and subtle shifts in energy that most people miss when emotions take over. Emotions take over. This observation allows them to understand not just what is being said, but why it is being said and what the underlying motives might be. By observing first, calm individuals avoid unnecessary mistakes. Quick reactions often come from assumptions, and assumptions are rarely accurate. When someone pauses to observe, they give themselves space to separate facts from emotions. They notice inconsistencies, hidden intentions, and opportunities that are invisible to those who react immediately. This pause creates clarity, and clarity leads to better choices. Observation also helps calm people conserve energy. Reacting impulsively drains mental and emotional resources, especially in stressful situations. Calm individuals do not waste energy on every comment or challenge. They choose where their attention goes and which moments deserve a response. This selective engagement gives them endurance and stability. allowing them to stay composed even when situations drag on or intensify. When calm people observe, they gain leverage. Others often reveal more than they intend when they believe someone is passive or unaffected. In silence, people tend to fill the space with explanations, justifications, or emotional outbursts. Calm observers collect this information without interruption. What they learn becomes an advantage when it is time to speak or act. Acting after observation also increases impact. Instead of reacting many times with little effect, calm individuals respond once with precision. Their actions feel deliberate and measured, which gives them weight. People take their words more seriously because they know those words come after careful consideration rather than emotional impulse. Emotional control leads to better decisions because it keeps the mind clear under pressure. When emotions surge, they demand immediate attention and push for instant action, often without full understanding of the consequences. Emotional control creates space between feeling and action, allowing a person to think before responding. This pause is where judgment improves because decisions are no longer driven by impulse but guided by awareness and reasoning. When someone controls their emotions, they can separate what feels urgent from what is actually important. Stress, fear, or excitement can distort priorities, making small issues seem critical and critical issues seem overwhelming. Emotional control restores balance, helping a person evaluate situations realistically. This clarity allows for choices that align with long-term goals rather than short-term emotional relief. Better decisions also come from the ability to process information objectively. Strong emotions can cause selective listening, where only certain details are noticed while others are ignored. With emotional control, the mind remains open to multiple perspectives. This openness improves problem solving because it allows all relevant factors to be considered before acting. The result is a decision based on understanding rather than reaction. Emotional control also reduces regret. Many poor decisions are made in moments of anger, fear, or excitement and are later questioned once emotions settle. By staying emotionally grounded, a person avoids these extremes and makes choices they can stand by with confidence. This consistency builds trust both in oneself and from others because actions become reliable and predictable in a positive way. In high-pressure situations, emotional control becomes a competitive advantage. While others rush, panic, or freeze, the emotionally controlled individual remains steady. This steadiness allows them to adjust, adapt, and choose the most effective response even as circumstances change. Over time, this pattern of thoughtful decision-making strengthens confidence and reinforces the habit of calm, intentional action. Silence allows strategic thinking because it removes distraction and creates mental space. When a person is constantly talking or reacting, their attention is divided between expressing themselves and understanding the situation. Silence shifts the focus inward, allowing thoughts to settle and patterns to emerge. In that quiet space, the mind can process information more deeply and connect details that would otherwise be overlooked. Strategic thinking requires patience, and silence naturally slows the pace of interaction. Instead of being pulled into the urgency of the moment, a silent individual controls the tempo. This slower rhythm makes it easier to evaluate options, anticipate consequences, and consider multiple outcomes before choosing a direction. By not rushing to fill every pause, they gain time to think while others feel pressure to act. Silence also encourages others to reveal more. When someone does not immediately respond, people often continue speaking to avoid discomfort. In doing so, they share additional information, clarify their intentions, or expose weaknesses in their position. A strategic thinker uses silence as a tool to gather insight without asking direct questions. Every word spoken by others becomes useful data. Without the noise of constant reaction, emotional intensity decreases. This emotional distance helps maintain objectivity, which is essential for strategy. Clear strategy is built on understanding reality as it is, not as emotions make it appear. Silence keeps emotions from dominating the thought process, allowing logic and foresight to guide decisions. Silence also prevents premature commitment. Speaking too soon can lock a person into a position before they fully understand the situation. Mm, mm. By staying silent, a strategic thinker keeps their options open. They observe how circumstances evolve and how others respond, adjusting their approach accordingly. This flexibility strengthens strategy and reduces the risk of being cornered by words spoken too early. Calm individuals intimidate without effort because their composure signals control and confidence, qualities that are universally recognized as powerful. When someone remains unshaken in the face of pressure or conflict, it creates an invisible force that others instinctively respect and even fear. Fear. People naturally sense that a calm person is not easily manipulated, provoked, or distracted, which makes them unpredictable and therefore more formidable. The intimidation comes not from aggression, loudness, or dominance, but from the quiet assurance that they are in command of themselves. This self-mastery communicates that no external circumstances can easily destabilize them. Others may react with uncertainty or hesitation simply because they are unsure how the calm person will respond, creating a psychological advantage. This subtle form of power often surpasses the impact of overt force or loud arguments. Calm people project presence, and presence itself can be intimidating. When someone is steady and composed, their energy fills the space without a word being spoken. People pick up on cues like measured speech, controlled body language, and consistent eye contact. These signals convey that the person is mentally sharp and emotionally balanced. In contrast, erratic or overly reactive behavior signals weakness, making others more likely to underestimate or challenge them. Another aspect of this intimidation is patience. Calm individuals do not rush or succumb to the pressure of others' urgency. They wait, observe, and choose the precise moment to act, which creates tension and anticipation. People around them often feel a sense of unpredictability, not knowing when or how the calm person will respond. This uncertainty can be more disarming than any overt display of power because it forces others to second-guess their own actions and words. Moreover, calm people rarely give away their intentions prematurely. They maintain control over what is revealed and what is concealed. This restraint makes them difficult to read, which amplifies their psychological influence. Others instinctively respect someone whose mind and actions are measured, realizing that underestimating such a person can be costly. This combination of control, patience, and unpredictability makes calm individuals inherently intimidating in any environment. Chaos exposes the unprepared because it removes the comfort of routine and predictability, forcing individuals to confront situations they may not be equipped to handle. Most people rely on familiar patterns, habits, and structures to navigate life. When those structures break down, panic often sets in and decisions are driven by fear, confusion, or desperation. Chaos reveals gaps in knowledge, skill, and emotional resilience, making unprepared individuals vulnerable to mistakes and exploitation. In chaotic situations, the difference between those who can adapt and those who cannot becomes starkly visible. The unprepared react impulsively, often overcompensating or underreacting, creating further problems. Their lack of foresight or planning becomes apparent in their erratic behavior. Every hesitation, misstep, or emotional outburst highlights a deficiency in preparation, leaving them exposed to consequences they could have mitigated with readiness. And this chaos also magnifies weaknesses. In calm conditions, flaws may remain hidden, unnoticed, or easily managed. But when pressure mounts, these weaknesses are amplified. Poor communication, lack of critical thinking, and emotional volatility are all laid bare. Those who have not trained themselves to remain composed, think clearly, and act deliberately under stress become easy targets for others who thrive in such conditions. Prepared individuals, on the other hand, turn chaos into an advantage. They anticipate possible disruptions, maintain composure, and respond with clarity and precision. The unprepared, by contrast, are consumed by the surrounding turmoil. Every decision feels reactive rather than proactive, and every movement carries the risk of compounding the problem. Chaos acts as a magnifying lens, separating those with resilience, discipline, and strategy from those who lack it. Nay, chaos exposes not only technical or strategic deficiencies, but also emotional and psychological limitations. Fear, frustration, and impatience surface in ways that cannot be hidden. The unprepared reveal themselves not just through what they do, but through how they react internally. Their inability to maintain control under pressure becomes obvious to others, making them vulnerable to manipulation, criticism, or failure. Staying calm keeps you one step ahead because it allows you to think clearly while others are clouded by emotion. When tension rises, most people react immediately to external pressures, often driven by fear, anger, or impatience. Their attention narrows and their judgment becomes reactive rather than proactive. In contrast, a calm individual maintains mental clarity, observing the unfolding situation without being swept away by the intensity. This awareness enables them to anticipate the next moves of others and make calculated decisions before anyone else can respond effectively. Being calm provides the advantage of foresight. While others are reacting to immediate stimuli, a composed person evaluates patterns, predicts outcomes, and identifies opportunities that are invisible to those caught in the moment. They notice subtle cues, changes in tone, body language, or environment that hint at what might happen next. This foresight is not just intuition, it is the product of patience, observation, and experience, amplified by a calm state of mind. Calmness also allows for adaptability. When situations shift suddenly, those driven by emotion often struggle to adjust, sticking to impulsive actions that may no longer be effective. A calm person, however, can pivot smoothly because they are not committed to a reaction born out of stress or urgency. They move with precision, responses that maximize impact while minimizing risk. This ability to adapt while maintaining composure ensures they remain ahead of the curve in dynamic scenarios. Additionally, calmness fosters strategic timing. Acting too early or too late can undermine effectiveness, but a composed mind knows when to wait, when to speak, and when to act. While others feel compelled to rush, the calm individual exercises restraint, often letting situations play out to their advantage. This patience creates a psychological edge, as people around them are unsure of their intentions and unable to predict their moves. Finally, staying calm strengthens resilience under pressure. Challenges, conflicts, and crises are inevitable, but those who maintain composure are better equipped to endure and influence outcomes. Their steadiness creates a sense of control that others may lack, giving them the upper hand in negotiations, problem solving, and leadership. Being calm is not passive, it is an active strategy that keeps one consistently one step ahead in any situation. The calm mind sees opportunities others miss because it is not distracted by noise, emotion, or urgency. When people are swept up in panic, stress, or excitement, their focus narrows to the immediate problem, and they fail to notice solutions or advantages that lie just outside the obvious. A calm individual, however, maintains perspective and mental clarity, allowing them to scan the situation comprehensively and identify possibilities that remain hidden to those overwhelmed by emotion. Calmness creates mental space for observation and analysis. While others react impulsively, a composed mind can evaluate the situation from multiple angles, weighing risks and benefits without pressure. This deliberation often reveals paths forward that are overlooked in the heat of the moment. What may seem like chaos to some becomes a landscape of potential to the calm, because they are able to step back and assess both challenges and opportunities objectively. Being calm also allows for creativity in problem solving. High stress and emotional turbulence limit thinking to familiar patterns, causing people to repeat the same solutions that may not be effective. A calm mind, unshaken by pressure, can think laterally, connect ideas, and envision approaches that are unconventional but highly effective. This ability to see beyond the obvious gives them a significant advantage over those whose thinking is clouded by emotional reactivity. Opportunities are often hidden in the mistakes and overreactions of others. While people who are anxious or angry focus on defending themselves or reacting hastily, the calm observer notices gaps, weaknesses, and possibilities. They are able to position themselves strategically, exploiting openings that the emotionally reactive fail to recognize. Calmness transforms observation into actionable insight, allowing one to act decisively at the right moment. Finally, the calm mind can maintain long-term vision even when immediate circumstances are stressful. Others may be distracted by short-term challenges, but calm individuals can keep their eyes on larger goals, identifying opportunities that contribute to sustained growth or advantage. By remaining composed, they do not get trapped in reactive cycles, which allows them to capitalize on situations that others overlook or dismiss entirely. Reacting gives power away, responding keeps power because reaction is automatic, while response is intentional. When someone reacts impulsively, they allow the external situation, other people's words, or unexpected events to dictate their behavior. Their actions are driven by emotion, anger, fear, frustration, or excitement, rather than by deliberate thought. In doing so, they hand over control of their mind, energy, and decisions to forces outside themselves, effectively surrendering their power in that moment. Reacting often escalates conflict because it amplifies emotion rather than managing it. A reactive person may say or do things they regret, give away information unintentionally, or make commitments they cannot sustain. Every reaction reveals vulnerabilities and exposes personal triggers that others can exploit. When this happens repeatedly, people begin to predict and manipulate their behavior, gaining psychological leverage over them. Responding, in contrast, is measured and strategic. A person who responds does so from a place of awareness and control, choosing the timing, method, and content of their action. They assess the situation, consider the consequences, and act in alignment with their goals rather than momentary impulses. This intentionality ensures that energy is spent effectively and outcomes are optimized, preserving influence and authority. Responding also signals confidence and restraint. When others see that a person is not easily provoked, they recognize strength and composure. This recognition shifts power dynamics as people are less likely to attempt manipulation or pressure. The one who responds maintains the upper hand because they are not ruled by emotion. They control both themselves and the flow of interaction. Responding allows for clarity and focus. A reactive mind is clouded by immediate feelings, making it difficult to process information accurately or see alternative solutions. By responding thoughtfully, a person can analyze options, anticipate consequences, and act decisively. This deliberate approach maximizes effectiveness while minimizing mistakes and vulnerabilities. Over time, the habit of responding rather than reacting builds a reputation of reliability, wisdom, and self-mastery, all of which reinforce personal power and influence. Calmness creates authority and presence because it signals self-mastery and confidence in ways that words alone cannot. When someone remains composed under pressure, people instinctively notice, even if they cannot fully articulate why. This quiet strength communicates that the individual is in control of themselves and, by extension, the situation around them. Presence is not about dominating a room with volume or theatrics. It is about the subtle energy that a composed person exudes, which naturally draws attention and respect. Authority comes from consistency and reliability, both of which are reinforced by calm behavior. When others see that a person does not overreact, panic, or lose composure, they begin to trust their judgment. People are more willing to follow someone whose decisions appear measured and deliberate, because calmness suggests that their choices are based on understanding rather than emotion. This creates influence without the need for overt commands or displays of power. Calm individuals also exude confidence because they do not need external validation. They operate from a place of inner certainty, and this self-assured energy is perceptible to others. Confidence and authority are closely linked. When someone is visibly unshaken by stress or chaos, it conveys competence and capability. Others may not challenge them as often because they sense that the calm individual is not easily swayed or intimidated. Presence is further amplified by the ability to listen and observe. Calm people do not feel compelled to fill silence with words or noise. Instead, they allow themselves to fully absorb their surroundings, gaining insight and awareness that others miss. This heightened perception enhances their influence because people recognize that the calm individual understands more than they reveal. It creates a psychological weight, a subtle power that commands attention without demanding it. Moreover, calmness fosters respect because it signals emotional intelligence. Those who maintain composure demonstrate control over impulses and emotions, which is a rare and admired trait. Authority derived from calmness is sustainable. It is not dependent on fear, intimidation, or coercion, but on the natural recognition that this person has mastery over themselves, and by extension, the environment in which they operate. Strong people don't need validation because their sense of self-worth comes from within, not from external approval. They are secure in their abilities, decisions, and values, and they understand that constantly seeking recognition or praise from others is a sign of insecurity. This inner confidence allows them to act decisively and authentically without being influenced by the fluctuating opinions or judgments of those around them. They do not measure their success or competence by the applause of others, but by their own standards and progress. The need for validation often leads to over-explanation, defensiveness, or reactive behavior. People who seek approval may feel compelled to justify every choice, defend every opinion, or exaggerate their achievements. This reactive need can be draining, both mentally and emotionally, and it opens the door for others to manipulate or control them. Strong individuals avoid this trap by cultivating self-reliance and inner clarity, knowing that external approval is neither necessary nor a true measure of their worth. Strong people also understand the transient nature of external validation. Praise and recognition are temporary, often inconsistent and outside of one's control. Relying on them for motivation creates vulnerability because it ties emotional stability to external circumstances. By deriving confidence from their own preparation, discipline, and resilience, strong individuals maintain steadiness regardless of whether others notice, approve, or criticize their efforts. Moreover, not needing validation allows strong individuals to focus fully on their goals and priorities. Their energy is not dissipated in seeking acceptance or worrying about perception. Instead, it is channeled into growth, strategy, and action. They are free to make bold decisions and take calculated risks, knowing that the value of their choices is determined by their effectiveness, not by how they are received by others. Finally, the absence of need for validation enhances presence and authority. People instinctively respect those who act from conviction rather than approval seeking. When someone is unshaken by others' opinions, it creates a subtle power dynamic. Others recognize that this individual is grounded, self-sufficient, and not easily influenced. This independence and self-assurance make them both inspiring and intimidating, reinforcing the quiet strength that comes from inner confidence. Discipline begins with emotional mastery because without control over your emotions, it is nearly impossible to maintain consistent habits, make rational decisions, or pursue long-term goals effectively. Emotions like anger, fear, impatience, and desire often drive impulsive behavior that conflicts with reasoned plans. Someone who lacks emotional mastery may start with good intentions but quickly abandon them when discomfort or temptation arises. Mastering emotions provides the foundation to act consistently, even when motivation fluctuates or challenges arise. Emotional mastery allows a person to delay gratification, which is a cornerstone of discipline. The ability to recognize fleeting impulses and choose long-term benefits over short-term satisfaction separates those who succeed from those who falter. For example, a calm and disciplined mind can resist reacting to provocation, avoid unnecessary conflict, and focus energy on productive actions rather than being drained by emotional turbulence. This self-restraint ensures that actions are deliberate and aligned with objectives rather than reactive or haphazard. Discipline also relies on maintaining focus under stress, and emotional mastery provides that stability. When difficulties arise, it is easy to become frustrated, discouraged, or distracted. A person who has cultivated control over their emotions can navigate these challenges without losing composure. Fro. They stay committed to their routines, continue executing their plans, and think strategically even when external circumstances are chaotic or unpredictable. This consistency reinforces habits and strengthens the overall trajectory towards success. Furthermore, emotional mastery helps in prioritization and decision-making, which are critical components of discipline. When emotions run unchecked, one may chase every opportunity, overcommit, or act impulsively in ways that undermine goals. By managing emotional responses, a disciplined person can evaluate situations objectively, choose actions that yield the greatest long-term value, and avoid being swayed by temporary frustrations, fears, or desires. This creates a pattern of intentional behavior that compounds over time, producing results that are greater than the sum of individual actions. Finally, emotional mastery instills resilience, which is essential for disciplined living. Discipline is not just about adherence to routines, it is about perseverance through setbacks, failure, and adversity. A calm and controlled mind views challenges as opportunities to learn rather than threats, allowing disciplined habits to persist even when progress is slow or obstacles appear insurmountable. This internal stability reinforces self-trust and strengthens the capacity to maintain consistent, goal-oriented behavior over the long term. True danger lies in controlled power, not noise, because the most formidable individuals do not need to announce their strength. Loudness, aggression, or showy displays of force are often compensations for insecurity or a lack of mastery. They grab attention, but they also reveal weaknesses and create opportunities for others to react, resist, or manipulate. Controlled power, on the other hand, operates silently and deliberately, making it unpredictable and far more effective. Its presence is felt rather than proclaimed, and that subtlety is what makes it genuinely intimidating. Controlled power comes from mastery over oneself, emotions, actions, and reactions. A person who possesses this kind of power can choose when and how to act, never responding impulsively to provocation or chaos. They move with purpose, and their restraint creates tension because others cannot anticipate their next step. This unpredictability generates influence as people sense that the controlled individual is thinking several moves ahead, weighing outcomes carefully before acting. Noise and aggression often burn out quickly and leave traces that can be exploited. People who react loudly or violently deplete their energy, expose vulnerabilities, and make themselves predictable targets. Controlled power conserves energy, gathers information, and maximizes impact. Every action is measured, every decision intentional, and every display of strength reserved for moments when it has the greatest effect. This strategic approach makes the controlled individual a force that is both efficient and feared. Furthermore, controlled power commands respect in ways that loudness never can. People naturally follow or defer to someone whose authority is self-evident, grounded in discipline, composure, and capability, rather than someone who forces attention through noise. This respect is deeper and more enduring because it is rooted in acknowledgement of competence rather than fear of immediate confrontation. Others recognize that controlled power is sustainable and that underestimating it could carry significant consequences. Finally, controlled power creates influence without friction, whereas loud or impulsive behavior often sparks resistance, confrontation, or emotional escalation. Calm, measured authority shapes outcomes subtly. It allows the individual to steer situations, guide decisions, and assert dominance without overt force. The quiet, deliberate nature of controlled power makes it not only more effective, but also more enduring, demonstrating that the most dangerous individuals are those who wield their strength with intention, patience, and precision. When you cultivate calmness, emotional control, and strategic patience, you do not need to announce your power. People will feel it in your presence, your decisions, and the way you navigate life with clarity and focus. True influence does not demand noise. It earns respect quietly. The most dangerous person is not the loudest in the room, but the one who remains composed, thoughtful, and deliberate. Master this, and you hold a power that cannot be challenged, measured, or easily defeated.